Olivia Wilde's Don't Worry Darling has finally premiered on the big screen, and boy, was it an interesting journey getting here. The movie identifies as a psychological thriller, but the events leading up to its release could also be deemed the genre. And to be honest, with all that built-up anticipation leading to underwhelming reviews and revelations of unprofessionalism, we can't even say anyone's surprised. Why? Well, let's talk about it. First up, the behind-the-scenes lore. Months before its release, Don't Worry Darling was already one of the most anticipated movies of 2022. I mean, with such a blockbuster cast and an up-and-coming director centering on storying around a strong female protagonist, who could expect anything else? Cast members like Florence Pugh, Chris Pine, Olivia Wilde, the director herself, and Shia LaBeouf brought the immediate spotlight to the movie's filming. Olivia Wilde had garnered immense critical praise for her debut film, Booksmart, and the fact that she wasn't collecting all these established actors in her movie was a fact to rejoice. Even Shia LaBeouf, a man who hadn't at that point openly admitted to abusing a woman, was fired from the set. Wilde claimed it was due to her no on-set policy and to protect her protagonist. But if you've somehow managed to keep up with the drama on the set, you'll know that's not entirely true. But more on that later. Wilde decided to cast Harry Styles in the role of Jack Chambers, and he plays husband to Florence Pugh's Alice in their 1950s utopia. Styles had at that point only one acting credit to his name, Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk, unless you also count that one iCarly episode, which for obvious reasons, we won't. Point is, Harry Styles' addition to the movie made it all the more intriguing. Hairballs, or Harrys as they prefer to be called, are a near cult-like fan base that follows the British musician/actor with obsessive fervor. Styles has made quite a name for himself as a solo musician, and that's truly commendable. His acting career, however, so far hasn't exactly been received by people other than his fans that well. Even some of his fans have called his acting in Don't Worry Darling anything alarmingly bad, but still not as good as Pugh's, which, then again, is understandable. Many have pointed out that Harry's first major role, besides actors far more established in the field than him, does him a disservice. In contrast, others claim people's pre-existing perception of him overshadowed his acting. Whatever it may be, it hasn't stopped critics from adding a footnote about how Pugh carries this film in their mostly negative reviews that boast about the potential thriller this could have been. Let's take a break and talk about the movie's plot inconsistencies. In any case, the movie received a 4-minute standing ovation at the festival, which, believe it or not, isn't that great for the VFS. There's a slight chance that the drama behind the movie soured the critics in the audience, making them unable to disconnect one from the other. But the more likely possibility, now that we have more information on the movie, is that there were a lot of inconsistencies in the plot, especially in its third act. A leaked version of the original script was found to many to be far superior in terms of coherence and characterization. Still, according to directorial wishes, it was changed alongside a few other changes Wilde thought fit to make, giving her character a major role for one. But as we said, plot inconsistencies like the plane crash Alice witnesses early on in the movie are pointless hallucinations. The ending was left for debate, which some weren't fans of. Also, there was no explanation behind the subtext about why men could die in the Victory Project, but women couldn't. There are of course theories, but no explicit explanation, or for why people don't age in the utopia, or for why Bunny, played by Wilde herself, knows the truth about the project. All these questions and more are just left unanswered. The movie's main issue, according to many, is that it attempts to be more clever than it is. The message isn't that powerful, the storyline is very weak at points, and what hasn't already been said about its third act that we might be able to add to. Now onto the relationship drama that further soured the movie for many. The fact that Wilde started publicly dating Harry in the middle of shooting the movie didn't help the movie get bonus points either, to be honest. In January of 2021, the two were spotted holding hands and attending the wedding of Harry's manager. If Shia quitting the movie didn't cast a metaphorical curse on the movie, this sure did. News of the couple parading around LA with friends and no proper masks during the pandemic surfaced. There was all that drama about Wilde's ex Jason Sudeikis and the two children they share. According to some, Harry has been deemed a homewrecker, and the relationship was considered extremely unprofessional, given Wilde is Harry's employer and 10 years older than him. Not that that has ever stopped any male film director from dating their much younger subordinate. For all her talk about equality in the workplace, one would never consider that she meant this. As it stands though, many still wanted the movie to give the movie a fair shot. Reports did arise of Wilde favoring the young star over her heroine in the movie behind the scenes, but those rumors were quickly shut down and smelled of misogyny according to many. Now I don't think no one has considered that this entire relationship may be PR for the movie, but that's just one theory, based on the premise that dating her subordinate is not the worst thing she's done in her career. We'd better move on to talking about Wilde's performative feminism now. Everything aside, it's also undeniable that there's tension between Pugh and Wilde when it comes to the movie. She wasn't in attendance for the Venice Film Festival's press release meetings and showed up to the premiere only to leave in between the standing ovation, all without interacting with Wilde at all. She also didn't attend the New York premiere of the movie. The reason for both was her filming Dune, which is a big time commitment. But if you followed the news from the movie set, perhaps there's another reason. Remember when we talked about Shia LaBeouf being fired fired from the movie because Olivia allegedly wanted to protect Pugh and had a no-tolerance policy for on set? Well, a few weeks before the movie's premiere, Wilde did a Vulture cover where they talked about all the judgment she gets as a female director and LaBeouf's firing. Shia then exposed Wilde by claiming he quit, while Wilde begged him to stay on the project. He also released a 50-second clip of Wilde coaxing him into continuing to work on the movie. In the clip posted just a few days before the Venice premiere, Wilde also insults Florence and says that his being difficult might be a wake-up call for Miss Flo. That, of course, doesn't sit so well with someone who claimed her movie was focused entirely on the female experience and how she'd do anything to protect her protagonist. Here's more information on why the two might not get along. Other than that, Wilde has been famously marketing her movie as something that will showcase female pleasure and center around the female orgasm and how she'll revolutionize those concepts in films. And while we can perhaps attempt to see the good-natured intent here, marketing female pleasure as something technically so non-consensual didn't sit too well for many. We discover that Alice has been trapped in this utopia without her consent. So say what you will about all the NSFW R-rated scenes, but they're not 100% consensual, given how Alice tries to immediately leave the world once she figures out what it is. This movie markets non-consensual sex as an exemplification of female pleasure, and that's problematic in its own right, since that's what Olivia had been mostly talking about in her interviews. Not to mention that Florence has stated just how uncomfortable she was with the media reducing this entire movie and all her acting into this one fairly forgettable scene where Jack eats Alice out. It speaks to Wilde's understanding of feminism that's only utilized to sexualize her heroine or get out of being called out for her openly condemnable behavior. Apparently, the two also had a row on set, ending with Florence being negotiated into participating in any movie promo. All this to say, Don't Worry Darling may have attempted to dissect gender roles and their deconstruction, but has insofar as not managed to present a coherent enough idea to be taken seriously. The fact is, not all press is good press, especially if it is bad press. And that's all for this video. Do you think that after all this, you still might want to give this movie a shot? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed watching the video, be sure to leave a like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications by pressing the bell icon to get notified whenever we post a new video. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.